You have a curious soul that wants to learn new things and combine skills. Well then, you must become a new age generalist. Not a jack of all trades, not a master of none, but rather a category of one. This video is intended to make you irreplaceable. See, I saw my mom working at the same company, same position for 37 years. I couldn't find peace with the fact that this is where I was heading to. In high school and at uni, every time I needed to make a decision to narrow down my specialization, I didn't understand that the world was telling me to lock in my decision while I was changing every 2 weeks. Like, I loved psychology and the brain, but I couldn't give a shit about diagnostics. I loved physical exercise, but didn't necessarily want to become a gym teacher. So I knew that I did not want to become a specialist, and that was a huge problem. Because I wasn't going to pay any of my bills learning a bit about everything. So for most of my 20s, I was lost, and here's the problem. Choosing a single thing was against my whole being, and new technology like AI coming up every week just made it feel even worse. However, I was also unable to combine all this chaotic and juvenile passion and abilities into a job that would pay me. So here I was, no idea how to make something of this. Eventually being drawn to weed and building up an addiction that got me very close to the edge. Failing at many different pursuits because I kept changing my mind. But then, finally, I stumbled on a fascinating concept that helped me grow an income that is connected to my authentic advantages. This is a journey and video 6 years in the making, and today I want to share with you how you can become a true generalist who turns a chaotic brain with too many passions into a career that feels like play, and because of that, will pay you better than any specialization ever will. Let's get into this. I believe that if you are a little too curious, like me, a true generalist at heart, or you simply don't want to be at risk of AI replacing you, then the only real solution is for you to become a category of one. To use your authentic advantages to make yourself irreplaceable. The first reason is that AI is per definition impersonal and has us longing more and more for human characteristics. And so personalization is how you hedge against AI. Second, you change all the time. So if you care about your natural development and being able to explore new skills and interests that pop up, well then you shouldn't make yourself a commodity, but rather a one-off solution. So instead of competing on a single skill, making the combination of all your skills and passions define the category of one that you are. And that brings us to the inverted triangle. See, everybody has a unique set of personal inclinations that always revolve around one or two main skills. And this is not just some blank statement to make you feel better or to make you like me. Here's exactly why this is true. As a young child, we learned, hey, these two parents are keeping me alive. I must learn how to have them like me so that they keep doing that. Later on, that became, hey, in order to feel like I'm good enough, I need to be loved by others. So I must make sure that other people love me. All of us have developed unique personal inclinations to satisfy these objectives throughout childhood and even as an adult right now. Whether it is making people laugh, you really understanding them, or having some kind of skill to persuade people with your energy and positivity. Different strategies that you have repeated so many times that you don't even recognize that it is a gift. What we're talking about here is best described by one of my favorite quotes, which is, "What is play to you is work to them." And this brings us to that inverted triangle, the solution that got me out of that personal hell, finally towards freedom. It is very simplistic. The top side of this inverted triangle represents the general interests and skills you have. The bottom is your main specialization, and yes, you do have one. The idea is to learn about anything as long as it serves your main specialization. So these personal inclinations that we talked about that revolve around that one main skill, that is your natural bottom of the triangle. That is your main specialization. And in a second, I'll show you exactly how I found that. I have the exact file of 5 years ago that changed everything, and I'll show it to you. But first, the complete answer to this question, because you're looking at this inverted triangle thinking, and now what? What I believe is the absolute solution is this. Specialize until valuable. This will be marked by financial independence. And then generalize until irreplaceable. And this you could mark by financial freedom. Specialize until valuable. Generalize until irreplaceable. You cannot start out as a generalist. Trust me, I've tried it. It is very hard to knock on someone's door and say, hey, I know a few things about all these things, but also you cannot remain a specialist. It is too dangerous for your own soul if you are a curious person, and if not, AI is going to reach the level of complexity necessary even to replace the skill that you have specialized in. It is just a matter of time. You have to first make yourself valuable enough to be financially independent using your main specialization. And now I'll show you exactly how to do it. It doesn't matter whether you are a working professional, a freelancer, or a creator, coach, consultant. It does not matter where you are in your career. It'll just give you different answers and skills to work with. It all started with an exercise called Ikigai. You've probably heard of it, but you are definitely underestimating it. 5 years ago, in a most desperate attempt to solve my situation, finally said, I'm going to do this exercise, and whatever comes out of it is going to be my next step. And as you can see, a chaotic number of passions, interests, and skills came out of it. But eventually, I did get to my answer: coaching and persuasion. My personal inclination, being the middle child, always feeling what's going on with everybody. Just my particular way of ensuring that I survived my childhood was the muscle of empathy, and this led to the main specialization I had, which was persuasion and coaching. My top of the pyramid could be filled with philosophy, psychology, spirituality, dating, but as the Ikigai exercise indicates, I'm not gonna make money with those. And so, for the first time in my life, I said I was going to sell coaching over the internet. But the steps that came after were so much more important, and I'm not gonna hold those back. How to execute on the philosophy behind your inverted triangle. Specialize until valuable, and then generalize until irreplaceable. And the best part is, if you have work experience because you're employed, or you're freelancing, or already coaching, consulting, then you already have your specialization. Specializing until valuable means to translate your skill away from the old conventional job market to translate it into the current digital economy. Filmmaking, start a content creation agency. You'll be paid more than you expect. You have skills in sales, become an online sales rep like a closer or setter and start living remote if you want to. And even if you have no expertise, one idea, one problem to solve is good enough. And in that case, the only difference is that your runway will just be a bit longer. And if that sounds rich to you, then here's literally how I did that. 5 years ago, absolutely lost, zero work experience, just a dream to start coaching. Number one was to spend a few hours thinking on how I could monetize this online, and very quickly that answer became selling coaching or packages of coaching online. Then second, and as you can see in this file, there was another page right down below. 5 mentors that were doing in some capacity what I wanted to do. And I said, you are going to be my mentors. I'm going to authentically copy the living hell out of you and learn as I go. The third absolutely transformative decision was to invest all the money that I had in a coaching program that would teach me the ropes, all of it. I cannot stress enough how much time this has saved me. Just paying for someone to condense all the problems and all the time he wasted so that I don't have to. It got me 20 times the money back that I invested. And then lastly, and that's the only way you should feel about this, is that you burn the ships. Is that as a true generalist, you have a constant urge to try new things and to switch up and to learn about something else. But this phase that you are in is a specialization phase. You got to be financially independent using this, and you cannot quit until you have made it work. That was the hard part. Now let's talk about the fun part, becoming a true generalist. Generalize until irreplaceable. Becoming financially free. Becoming a generalist in the internet age means to become a digital renaissance man. To learn the modern skills of the internet is to make yourself irreplaceable. The most integral part and the first step to this process is to create content around your specialization. Why? Besides the fact that building your own distribution is the #1 asset of our age and something AI cannot replace, it is also the gateway to learn all the modern skills fast. One unit of content contains a hook, marketing message. It requires sales, writing, having a good offer. And so that's how you organically and authentically learn all the skills. And the best part about this that everybody gets wrong is that you're not starting from scratch. You are starting with all the wisdom you gathered over your life. And simply by turning on a camera and dispensing that wisdom, the world will get to see all the value that's pent up inside you with infinite leverage. To use my story as an example, you are now coaching passionately for $40 an hour. Specialized, yes. Financially independent, yes. But absolutely limited to this single skill and thus to my time. Generalization is how I became financially free, and here's exactly how it went down. Once I was making barely enough to be independent, this is when my life started flourishing. I studied content creation and began making content on YouTube, which pulled me directly into the next level. Now adding the skill of content creation under my belt, expanding my category of one, as it was still serving my main specialization. And this continued until I had a great understanding of all the skills that were needed for me to win in the online landscape. Reaching the point where you can study anything that interests you and pull it into your universe, pull it into that main specialization. The more of a category of one you become, the more free you are in doing whatever the hell you want. And this is called synthesizing, to follow your unique interests and passions and to turn those into unique solutions, embracing the category of one. This is how I became a true generalist who turned a chaotic brain with too many passions and a heavy imposter syndrome into a career that feels like play. And precisely because of that, also pays me better than any specialization ever could. And that's why the generalist will beat the specialist. If you are a generalist at heart and you want to make more than 10K per month online, then I'm just letting you know that we're selecting 3 more motivated men for the upcoming cohort. We will personally guide you step by step to build a leveraged service offer that cannot be declined by your niche. We'll teach you how to turn all that wisdom into magnetic content that attracts an audience fast and has clients coming to you. And we will build your whole marketing and sales funnel for you so that you will make your first 10K within the period of working together. And if not, you'll get a refund. It's that simple. We are quite selective in who we choose for the program, and that is for your benefit and for ours. We start on the 22nd of September. Check the link in the description to see if there's any spots left. See you there, or see you in the next one.